Hey YouTube, Joseph Ulmer here, and I am here with, yes, the goober again, Blake, and we're back to working on his truck. Now, just so you guys know, this is the same 88 F-150 that you saw us drag out of the weeds in the video. Where we were advertising the wrecker for sale. So I'll take you for a quick walk around. You can see it's got a ladder rack on it. I don't know, you gonna keep the ladder rack on it? Or you think you can take it off? You heard it from him. He doesn't think he'll use it, so we'll probably take the ladder rack off at some point. It's actually for a short bed. I believe it's extendable. I don't know. It's a two-piece unit. You can see up there. Hopefully, I don't know whether it's going to show up on camera, but you can see it comes apart in the center, and I guess it can slide out for short bed, long bed. I don't know. You can move the mounting points, something. But anyway, this truck's got some rust. It's got a few dings and dents. I mean, it's not perfect, but we're going to fix it up, put it back on the road. And got a pretty good dent over here. I don't know whether we may try and pull it out and fix the rust on the bed, or I don't know, maybe we'll build a flatbed for it or something crazy like that. But right now we're trying to get it running and stopping. So we've already replaced the brake hose on this side. Hopefully you can see this. I left my flashlight over there. Hang on. Let me get my flashlight. So we've already replaced the brake hose on this side because this one was blown out. It actually broke right at the top of this metal fitting here. We had to replace a little section of the brake line here because it was rusted at the back of the fitting where it met the brake hose. So I replaced that section. We've got the new brake hose on this side. That line broke, it twisted off too, it was rusted. So it's just a real short line, it runs right up to that block there. So I've got it bent, and it's over here, right here. We're going to get it put on here in just a second, and then we're going to get it back down, put the new belt on, because as Blake stated, we're going to put the tires back on. Now this is the smog pump, and as we found out when we first tried to start it, that smog pump is locked up tighter than the drum. It is not going anywhere. So that thing, I'm putting a serpentine belt on it that'll bypass that, because these things really, yes, they were supposed to be on there for emissions, but on the same hand, considering the fact that it's locked up and heaven only knows how long it hasn't been working properly, we're going to bypass it for now to get this truck running and make sure we have everything else figured out. And then maybe we'll go through and do some of the body work. So anyway, stick with us. Like I said, I'm going to throw a card up in the top corner for the video with the wrecker where we pulled this out of the weeds. And that way, if you haven't seen that one, and I'm also going to throw a card up there for our first video when we first got this thing into the shop and was working. That's another thing we're going to have to do. We're actually going to have to replace this oil pan because, as you can see, it had two holes rusted in it, and I plugged them with screws just so that we could check, because the reason this truck got parked was after it would idle for a little while, it would start dropping oil pressure. And I think it was dropping oil pressure because the oil level was too low, and it was sucking the pan dry because it was leaking and nobody realized it had a leak. So we're going to, so far, every time I've had it running, which is not running well and it's not running right, it won't idle. I think we've got a fuel issue there. We've got good fuel pressure, but the fuel in it's several years old, so I think it could be bad gas. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe some water in the gas. We're working on that. So we've got a running issue, but every time we've had it running, it has held good oil pressure. It's maintained between 50 and 60 psi at around 1,000 RPM, so that's great oil pressure for this truck. I don't see any issue there. So anyway, I'm going to get you in a time lapse and you can watch us monkey this brake hose on. We're going to try and get the brakes bled so that they work properly, get the tires back on, get a belt on. We'll go from there. Alright guys, you just saw us get to bleed the brakes, and if you couldn't tell, we had a couple leaks we had to fix. Now what we were using to bleed the brakes makes it very nice and quick is this Mighty Vac pressure bleeder. Well, technically it's a fluid dispenser. They have multiple different adapter kits for these. You can use these for refilling the automatic transmissions that you have to refill through the drain plug, some Ford Explorers, Rangers, things like that. But we have this adapter kit that has all these different adapters for the top of the master cylinder. Put some brake fluid in it, top off the master cylinder, pressurize the canister by pumping the top here. You just pump this, and then when you open the valve, it pressurizes the brake system, and you can go through and bleed it without having somebody pump the brakes. Now, when you get done, leave the valve open like it is. Lower this back down. Lower this down, get it lower than, oh sorry, hold you out here. Get it lower than the master cylinder and release pressure, and it'll actually pull the fluid back down the hose away from the master cylinder. So you won't puke a bunch of fluid. And then, get it hung back up there and you can disconnect it. Now as you can see, this tube right there actually goes up to the fuel pressure gauge that I had hooked to it to make sure I had good fuel pressure, and that wasn't an issue. I've got a battery charger on it because, as you can see, when we had it running, it didn't have a serpentine belt on it. So every time we started it and would run it, it's discharging the battery more. So we got a battery on it, a battery charger on it, just to peak the battery back out. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the brake bleeder off of here and get the serpentine belt on. I got truck owner over here is putting the tires back on.
Putting that tire on. I don't know how to make it.
He had to fix a leak in that one too. So, I'll get you set back up here. And, oops, sorry guys. You can watch this work. Here we go. Now guys, anytime you're using a brake bleeder, pressure bleeder like this, it's always a good idea. You saw me in the video, I had him jump up in the truck, and after I got most of the air out, I had him pump it up a couple times and really put some pressure to it, because you can put a lot more pressure in the system with the brake pedal than you can with 10 psi in that pressure bleeder. And that will ensure that you get as much of the air out of the system as possible. You'll push any air bubbles out in the brake caliper. Now, there may be a little bit of air left in the system, and yeah, we're up to max line, but the brakes will work safely now, and if we feel the need, we can always come back and do another bleed on them later, because we're going to have some more work to do to this truck. We're just trying to get the brakes functioning that way. When we move it, here, take this, put it back over on that, where that plywood's laying. The shelf right below the cardboard boxes, it goes on this end, on top of the other two black boxes that are there. But that way we can move it around safely and actually stop the truck with the brake pedal. So, I guess we'll go ahead and I'll get this tire set up for him. It's always a good idea to put a little bit of lube of some kind on the lug nuts. That way you never want to torque them dry. Now that I have those torqued down, I can set the truck on the floor and work on putting the serpentine belt on while I'm doing that. Keep the toes up a minute. Somehow or another, that one's not fitting either. I'm going to try and go back to 78, which makes it nowhere near close. So, when I measured it, I actually took the tape measure and measured the damn thing. It came out to 6 foot 6 inches.
Is it good, boy?
Thank you.
Look here.
I ran it this way when I measured it.
Oh, they're not gonna help.
No. It probably is. Right, didn't I? Okay. Let me see.
Well, the screw's still on point.
Sound all right?
I don't know where it's at.
Give me a second. What the hell? There.
It was a big one.
Get in there. Oh, shoot. You're behind me. Guys, come on. Let's go. Here's maybe some.
It is 6:30.
Alright, what's the next truck?
You know that's
Yeah, that's going to. Alright, so I guess that's a 78-inch belt. It's about 2 inches too short. I just can't get it over the tensioner. So I guess what we really need is an 80-inch belt. While he's doing that, I'm going to go try or taking that back to my truck. So if we can take it back to the store, I am going to try and find the screws that keep dropping. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
It's inside the wheel.
what the heck?
Go for it. Run it home. Run it home. I got it. Go, go. Go, Blakey, go. Oh. Go grab a half-inch wrench still over. Grab my half-inch wrench out of the drawer, or wherever it is. Okay. It's all back together. Go ahead and raise her up in the air. I want to pull those tubes out. The air tubes that I disconnected. I get that out. We'll get the air intake back on here. Get the pressure gauge on. We'll get it out of here. But hopefully it'll fire back up for us. Keep going. I'll say when to stop. This is the air feed runs from the pump to a vacuum cylinder. As you can see, there's a gigantic hole broken in the back up here. And down to what should be a spot on the exhaust where the catalytic converter is going. Now, I do believe it's still more energy up there. Connecting somewhere on the back end. I also have what appears to be a ground wire loose back here. I can make what's for it. Now. The wire is. I don't know where it's supposed to connect. Let me know. Get to it from the top as far as possible. Alright, go back and forth. Get these right one back around. See all where it's coming from. You got it, camera. Yep. And that's it. Okay. Now, hey, real quick. Move the arm out of the way. What? Nothing we need on that wheel. Get to that piece of wire. There it is. Yellow back line, pink back line, and then plug off. Is that fuel pressure gauge still showing pressure? No. I can steer it. There, disconnected. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up. Oops, let me turn that on. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this installment. Do me a favor, please click the subscribe button right down there in the bottom of the screen. Please rate the video and stay with us. This is going to be a slow project because I'm trying to work on it when, say bye. When he's with me, so that it is his truck. That way he can do the work with me and get it back on the road. So hopefully next time. So far we've gotten the brake issues taken care of. Hopefully I'll get the belt taken care of. I got to go back to the auto parts store on my way home tonight and swap that one out for the right one, pay the difference. We've got a U-joint we have to replace. We have to fix the running problem. Chances are what I'm going to end up doing, I did find a ground back on the back side of the engine that was loose. I reconnected it. I don't think that's going to fix it. Yeah, I'm not that lucky. I think I've got an issue with either fuel delivery or spark, either poor quality fuel or my spark's off. But I know I've got fuel pressure. I know I do have spark. So somewhere I've got a running problem that we're going to delve in and we'll get it figured out. But until next time, do me a favor, stay tuned to the channel for other videos to come up. And have a nice day, guys. Don't forget, don't be afraid to get out there and get your hands dirty. You might have a little fun doing it. I know he is.